Okay, hopefully Brittany's got the link to come in. All right, so let me pull the book up also. Well, first let me go to Canvas.
Right. I mean, it's a comedy, essentially. It's basically like comedic drama.
Yeah. So it's a comedy.
Right. So, like, why don't you name the course Icy Hot?
Okay, so what everyone's supposed to have uploaded, if you go to, and I did not put the discussion up till today, so you have till next Monday night to do the Krug book discussion. I didn't get it up there. I forgot I didn't do that. Okay, so if you go to the Chapter 6 assignment, it says, complete the reading and exercises 1 through 8, but do not upload those. But in order to understand the chapter, you need to go through and do those. But I can grade everything. So what I had you do was complete the test yourself on page 128 and upload the folder with all documents representing the hierarchy chart for the paths of files. So let me open the book. If it will let me. Oh, I think I put it here, didn't I? Oh, of course, that's not the right one. I forgot. Did I get it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. So in this textbook, where is it? I had it right here. Maybe that is it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so if you haven't done this portion, you're going to have a hard time doing the test yourself, but I'm going to go over the test yourself a little bit, because what the test yourself does is every section that was in the textbook, it has, you create a link to represent the link in that section. So in other words, every concept that you did in chapter 6 is tested in that test yourself. So if I go down here to, oh boy, everything on here is so slow. Even scrolling, look at it spin. Okay, so this entire chapter 6 is about adding links to a web page. So what tag element creates a link? You had to know that first. That was in the first part. No, that's part of, oops, that's the wrong one. That's just the attribute, but what tag element right here? Which the anchor, it's called an anchor tag because that's what it is an anchor to link you somewhere else. So an anchor tag, that's how you would do an anchor tag, is with the A. Well, Brianna, this is all going to be reviewed to you, right? Because you already did all this. All right, so within the anchor tag, there has to be a cancel anchor. But this anchor is no good without the href attribute, because it doesn't take you anywhere unless you put a link in here. And you put the link in quotes and then end it like this. Then whatever you want the link to say, like if it says go to the, what was one of those pages?
Index.
Yeah, index, or like one of them he had you do linguini or something like that was one. Okay, so when you click on that, it's going to take you to whatever you have in here. So in here, you have to have the exact link. So if you're on the index, you've got to know what path you have to take. Is it in the same directory as linguini? I think it was not in your example, because when I was working with Shy, the path was recipes. If you were on the if you were on the index page. So you had to go up into there and then Linguini HTML, right? I think that's right. Linguini .html, and then you in the quote, and then here you want it to say Linguini or whatever you want it to say. This is what will actually show up on the page, but it will show up as a link. So since we haven't done CSS yet, all links will show up in blue code, right? That's the default, is blue for a link. So if you use this anchor element, it's going to show this word up as blue. So within this chapter, you were supposed to learn what the href attribute did. Then there are two kinds of links. If you're linking to an external website, like here it shows, like if you're going to foodnetwork.com, then you have to put the entire link in, http://www.foodnetwork.com. That's called an absolute link or an external link because it's not staying within your website. It's going outside to the World Wide Web. So those are absolute links. And there it has you practice doing that. Now, at the end in the test yourself, what I had you do was you had a chart, a hierarchy chart like this, only your test yourself folder says some site, and you were supposed to make the links that it asked you to make if this is how the path is set up. So you learned here linking within your own sites called a relative link. And so what that means is you don't use the HTTP. And what some students, what I helped Shy with, what he didn't realize that he was doing is you can't let it put your C: drive in there, because when you upload it to the web, there's no such thing as a C drive, right? On the web, it's just where your website from there out. So you have to be careful with that. You can target a new browser window. In other words, when you click, have you ever been on a web page and you click on a link and it just puts it right there over the top of what you're looking at, and then you have to go back button to get back? Well, if you say put it in a new tab, then it'll leave that index page open and click and you go to another tab. But we'll look at those. So down here, you also learned how to do a mail link. This is how it's still an href, but it has mail to : and you put your email address. But over here is what actually shows up on the web page. And then there's a telephone link if you want it to link to a telephone. And that became kind of important with mobile devices, because when you're on a mobile device, you like to be able to just click on that and it calls, right? So that's how you use this one. So the test yourself, this is the part that you were supposed to have uploaded in a folder, because what it tells you to do is to look at this hierarchy of files. Where can you find this? Where is this whole folder? Remember where it is? It's in these, in your zipped file, LWD5E materials, and it's in the chapter 6 folder, and there's a folder called Test Yourself. And inside it, it has this exact hierarchy. It has some site, and then in a folder below it, it has examples and images and index and tutorial. Then off of images, if you open up images, it has arrow GIF and bullet GIF. So these are subdirectories of images. I'm sorry, files within the subdirectory images, which is a subdirectory of some site. Okay, so you have to know these are called paths. And these are why, have you ever gone to a website and you click on something and it says 404, can't find the file? Have you ever done that? You've never had a site that had a broken link in it?
Well, I mean, I've had the arrow page come up.
Error, that's what I mean. 404 error, I think it says.
Yeah.
That's 404.
Yeah. And so anytime that happens, it's because either they moved files around and didn't change their HTML to reflect that, or originally they didn't have their paths set up correctly to get to the correct file. It's very frustrating when you go and that happens, right? You're like, oh, it's broken. Well, that's what you want to prevent from happening by understanding paths. And so when you look at the way files are laid out here, this used to be called a tree structure, because on it, this is like the trunk of the tree and the branches, and that these are the little branches, okay, in images. If you look in examples, look at that, there's 3 folders embedded, or subdirectories, subfolders inside of examples, and there's 2 HTML files, but then inside things, there's some more. So that has to match all of this. See, examples has 3 folders. Inside those folders are files, HTML files. So these are on the same level as these folders inside examples. These files are on the same level. And so that's how they kind of did this hierarchy chart. They color coded it for you so you'd know which ones were on the same level. So to start out with, it says to copy this so you can use it, or you don't have to copy it. But anyway, what you're supposed to do is in index.html, which is the site's home page. So I'm going to pull these back up. So this is the home page right here. It says write the markup for a link to the tutorial.html page. And it even starts it out for you right here. It does the first one for you. So I'm going to open this one in Dreamweaver. If I can get it to come here. Oh, and I forget this is a different version of Dreamweaver. I don't, he didn't update it for me. So if you have it on your home computer, you probably have the 2020 version. This is the 2019 version. So if you have the Creative Cloud, probably automatically updated it, so your Dreamweaver will look a little different. If you're not using Dreamweaver, you can use, of course, Text Editor Notepad. So if you don't have Dreamweaver at home, that doesn't give you an excuse for not getting your assignments done, because you can use any kind of editor. There's a lot of them. Okay, this one, I'm going to build a new, you don't have to do this, but this will help. A new site, and it's going to be called some site. And then I have to go and find where it is. Oops. Where did I put it? I think I put it here. Here. Oops. Oops. No, not yet. I didn't want to do that. Where did I gotta follow the path? So see, I had to follow the path to where that was. Some site. Okay, so that's my base. Now I just say save. Okay, so done, and now it should open it up. Yeah, so here's my, let me make this small here. Oh, Brittany never did come in. I don't know what happened. Okay, so this is the root. These are the local files that are in there already. So this is the one that was in some site, I guess. So now if I want to open the index, oh no, this is something else. Let me close these. These are something that we did in 5. So I'm gonna take that off. Okay, so I want to open this. Oops, I want to open this one. So this is my home page, and in my book, it said to, on this page, to create a link back to the tutorial.html file. So this tutorial file, you notice, is in the same path, the same folder here. So when I go in and code it, I'm going to code an anchor, and I have to have an href. Is this what you had confusion with, Kayla? Is this the assignment, this part?
Yeah.
Okay, so are you looking at now what you're supposed to do? You might understand it now. So in Dreamweaver, it comes right up and tells me how to link to the correct file, right? So even if you, I think, Lenny, even if you don't have your book, if you have those material zip file, you can do this part with this. So you're doing it? Okay. Anybody else need to know where those files are that you can use? Okay, Caleb, they should, there, you can download the whole zip file in side of Canvas. It's under course info. You see it? Evaluation. No, down here. Okay, let me go up here. It should be on the home in Canvas in our class. Those, or start here. Maybe it's at start here. Yeah, it's at start here. The very last right here. That's what we're working with. So if you didn't download that on these machines in here, you probably want to do it, because if you want to do anything while we're in class. So we have, once you download those, then you will find chapter 6 and the files that I'm working with here. Get back to it. Okay, so when I code those, I can look right here and I can tell what my path is. So tutorial is in the same level as index. So I would simply say the name of the file, or I can just click it if I'm in Dreamweaver because it does it for me. And then I have to close that. And you notice when I do that, Dreamweaver automatically puts my closing anchor tag there, right? Now, if I don't put anything in between there, what do you think's going to happen? Nothing. It doesn't show up. Good, Brianna. Doesn't show up on the page that I even have a link. So I need to say, maybe go to tutorial. I don't have to put go to, but I will. Okay, so now I don't know if it told you to put, if it even told you exactly what to put. Now, if I refresh again, look there, there's my link. So now I can go down here to preview, and I can preview in Google Chrome, save the changes. And now if I click, it took me to, this is the tutorial page, right? Are you, did you get it? There you go. So this was number 1. That's number 1 of the test yourself, right? Questions? Anybody need help? Because I'm gonna have you do the rest of it. You need to, I'll maybe do number 2 together. And then what you have to do is what Brianna did, your folder, that SumSite folder, you're gonna zip it. So you're gonna right click on it and zip it and submit it, okay? Oh, that's Tish back there. I haven't seen you in a while. Okay, so you're gonna zip it, and so like when I get through and I've done all of the test yourself, I just will take this folder, right click on it, and say compress if you're on the Mac. I think it says something else on the PC if you're using a PC at home. So I compress it, created that zip file. So when I go over to Canvas and I go to that assignment, where is student view? Let me go up here to student view. And so I'm going to go over here to my assignment will be here. And so I would do submit, and then I would upload that zip file that I just created. And it's way over here somewhere. Chapter 6, test yourself, and there it is. So I would put that up there and say submit assignment. Okay. And how Brianna did it is good. I may have not told you to do that, but she did her initials and the test yourself or something, which is good too, either because that helps me whenever I download it. Any questions on what you're supposed to submit? So if you go back to the PDF, I did number 1. The next one, we'll do one more. It says, in index.html, write the anchor element for a link to instructions.html. Okay, so over here, I don't see instructions in my root folder, right? Now see that? It's kind of small, isn't it? So it's not in the root. And even in the book where the PDF is, where is the instructions file? It's inside which folder? Examples, right? And I can tell that if I look at my Dreamweaver actual folders, if I click down there, I can see instructions. Oh, okay. So if you want in Dreamweaver to have these folders over here, you have to do what I did. You create a site. So you go over here to site. This is a little bit of Dreamweaver that I didn't show you. So then you do new site and you name it whatever you want to name it, chapter 6. And then you have to go here and find where that folder some site is and click on it. And then click save, and it will populate your local files.
Okay.
Did that help?
Yep.
Anybody else do that? You go to site up here at the top. And so every time you do an assignment, a chapter assignment, you can create a new site and it'll populate with your files right over there in local files right inside Dreamweaver. That's kind of an advantage to Dreamweaver, is it keeps everything right there together and you don't have to click out and see how your file setup is. Does somebody want help doing that, or everybody got it? I guess you could go back and watch the video if you get home and see it. Because now, Shy in his Dreamweaver, he was having trouble. We couldn't see his properties down there. But here, you notice I have, here's what I have open. DOM, files, and properties is the only windows that I have open over here. This is the DOM that shows the tree structure of my tag elements. What the DOM does is it shows every tag element that's inside my document. And it shows what they're inside of. See, title is inside of head, paragraph and anchor inside of body. So that's what that shows. And properties, why that's good to have open is because it refreshes this page automatically for you. Okay, so my next is number 2 said to, in that same index.html file, write the anchor element or a link to instructions.html. Okay, so how do I do that? I want to write another anchor. So actually I could copy and paste this if I wanted. I could take this one and then I just have to change whichever way. If it's easier for y'all to type it in, do that too. But what do I want it to link to? What's this one say to link to? Come on. Somebody tell me. What is this one supposed to link to? Equals. And look, it tells me different pages. Which one am I supposed to link to? What did my assignments, what did it say on number 2? Link to the instructions.html. So how do I do that? Where is it? Examples. And then it opens this up. See, Dreamweaver really helps you out. So it puts examples. That's where the instructions file is. It's not, you can't, like on tutorial, why were we able to not put a folder name in on tutorial and it's still linked? I'm going to actually do a break here so it'll go to a new line. Okay, so examples, and we don't want it to say go to tutorial. We want to say go to what? Instructions. I only hear a couple of people calling. I hope the rest of you are understanding because you're not asking questions. So you better ask a question if you don't get it.
I was gonna ask, how did you get yours to be blue because mine's not?
Then your link isn't working because all links should default to blue until we do CSS and we can change our link. Oh, href is spelled wrong.
Oh, that's usually have that problem sometimes.
Yeah, usually if your color coding doesn't work right, you've transposed letters or something. Okay, transpose. She had
Thank you.
href. And what does href represent? It's a shortened version of hypertext reference. That's what that's.
And I was like, oh.
So that's what, sometimes if you know the word, then it makes more sense and you don't misspell it or whatever. Because that's, what if you had to type out as an attribute hypertext reference? That would be long, right? So they shortened it. And that only belongs with an anchor tag. You can't use a hypertext reference with other tag elements. So all we've concentrated on in chapter 6 is just the anchor element, but different ways to use the anchor element, okay? These are anchor elements are links. That's how when you go to a web page, if you see a link, it's in the HTML code, it's got to have an anchor tag to be a link. And so, and you'll notice, you know, when you go to web pages anymore, they very seldom have a line under them. But that's the default in HTML. And until we apply CSS styles, it will always be blue and always have an underline. And we can change it when we learn how to style our page. Okay, so you've got number 3 is to create a link to family.html. Create a link to boot is 4. Create a link back to the home page. So there's 11 items in here. So when you finish, you will have made changes to that folder. That's why you wait till the end and then you zip it and submit it.
Do we need to put anything like any words in it?
In what?
Like on homepage, is it just gonna say?
No, it'll
homepage?
tell you what to put on. If it doesn't tell you to put any text in there, then don't.
Okay.
Because like what I did do that made it easier is a break. A break caused this to go down to a new line.
I just didn't know if like we needed to type something up.
You can, if you want to play around with it, that's fine. Just so all the links work the way it says.
Okay.
Lainey?
I'm not looking.
Okay. Yeah, I want you to try it and see, so you can at least not get home and not be able to do any of it. So if yours, you can't get a link to work, let me look at it. Homepage is there, okay. You spelled that wrong. Yeah, it's gonna have TUTOR. You see, if you spell it wrong, it's not going to, no, you've got to, it's not going to find the name of the page. There you go. Tutorial, but then you also don't have a closing bracket between that and the go. There you go. See? Pops right in. Pretty cool, huh? So now you go down here to see it in a browser, make sure it works. So preview, yeah. So you got to save it. There you go. There it is. And click it. Oh, saying your page isn't found because you probably don't have the folder. Where's your folder? Some site. So you got to put everything in that folder. This, or you got to open. There it is. Open that. Go to 6.
I have to put it on my.
Go to test yourself. Now, say open. Go ahead and leave that there, but go down into Dreamweaver. And now go File, Save As, and you'll put it in that. Save As.
And then you show up on my desktop.
Oh, that's all right. Go right here. There it is.
Oh, that's how you find
You
it.
didn't know how to do that. Come on.
I
Did you
did.
find it?
Yeah, I just had
Okay, there you go. Chapter 6.
it.
Test yourself. There you go. Okay, so save it save it as index because that's what you want it to be. So go up here and change that to index instead of chapter. And you should never have spaces in there. But change, yeah, just change it to index. No, all lowercase. Just take that off. All lowercase index. Folks use this to make because it won't find it in those other files if you don't make it exactly the same. Now click Save. Replace. Yes. Okay, now do your device preview again. You're on the wrong one. Close that. You close the wrong one. Okay, go back into Dreamweaver.
I feel like a dummy.
Preview. Oh, it was in. It's
Oh,
in. You're not in the right thing.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Open. But okay, try. Okay, go over here. Well, no, it shouldn't be going there. But I think open it here because this is the one we just changed. Just double click it. Browser, right click on it. Oh, do you have it in once? Is that Chrome up there and that Chrome down here? Those are your Chrome. Okay, now. There you go. Now. Your file. 2 for you. On the desktop. Is that where you're? Oh, there's something wrong with your path. Okay, go back in Dreamweaver. Okay, so see all of that? That's why. Take all of that out. That was when it was not in the right place. It created it that way. Now, if you now go down to preview. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, anybody else?
So I have a question.
Which one are you? Oh, you're doing the ones inside. Okay.
So is it supposed to be this is the link? Oh, it's supposed to be. Yeah, now, so I would, when it's an external link, I would just go to it and then copy and paste it. Yeah.
Anybody else? Everybody okay? All right, so I'm going to leave that now because we're going to go into chapter 7 because that's going to be your assignment for this week. So now you know how to finish this one and submit it. So we're going to go out of that one and I'm going to go over and do some introductions here to 7. So 7 is going to be about adding images. And we've already done that somewhat, like you had to do it in Jen's kitchen. You had to do an image source. But in this chapter, we're going to go into a little more deep detail about some new type of image elements. So there's all kinds of image formats. And the newest one is called SVG images. What are the images that what's the format of the images that you've been embedding so far? They were dot what? What are images? Y'all all are multimedia. JPEG, PNG, good. So, but you haven't embedded any SVG. Those are kind of new. Those are called scalable vector graphics. Why do you think that it's important now to have scalable vectors? What are we doing with website design anymore? How many devices does your website show on? All different sizes, right? Very good. So that means that your graphic needs to scale, right? And it needs to respond to whatever size device it's on. Because there's no way as a coder you can put all those different vectors out there, right? So we have to use ones that are called SVG, and they will automatically respond to the size of device that you're on. And that's called responsive image markup or responsive web design. So we're going to look the image element, the things that are required in the image element. Oh, this one doesn't have my highlights in it. Okay, so in the image element that we've been using already, it's image, and then it always has to have a source or else it won't work, just like an anchor has to have an href, right? Well, if you don't have a source, then the image doesn't know what file or what graphic you want to display. So it has to have a source attribute in quotes, and then the alt is required too. It isn't that it won't display, but it's called alternate text. And what that means is what will display if the image does not display. So source and alt are talked about a little more, but those are attributes that are shown and are required in the file. It's kind of like it says here, the image file's URL has to be there. And it's just like when we do the link to a page that we've been working on in chapter 6. The URL has to be the correct path or it won't find the file. Same way with the image. If it comes up with a little page with a line through it, which you've seen that before too, if an image is missing, that's what it looks like a page with an X on it or something. So you have to be sure that you create the correct path for your image, okay? So here we go. Down here, oops, we have an image is called an empty element, which means it doesn't have any content. You just place it in the flow of text where the image should go. It is an inline element. You remember that we have block elements such as a paragraph because it is a block of content, and there's a line before it and a line after it automatically. But inline elements, just like you see in this image up here, this summer, try making pizza, and they put the image right in line with in the middle of the paragraph, right? You can't do that with a paragraph. You can't put a paragraph inside in the middle of a sentence, okay, because it's a block element. So we've used, can anybody name another inline element that we've used? We had it in the first part. Brianna knows. What's one, Brianna? What's an inline element besides graphic? Besides an image? What will mark up your text and make it look different? Like if you wanted it bolded or strong, that's inline because you mark up the text right there in the line of code, or italics, right? We did that, which is emphasis. Okay, those are called inline. Okay, so that's what this graphic image and image element is, an inline. Okay, so the image element is what's known as a replaced element because it is placed by an external file when the page is displayed. So down here is an example too of, oops, where'd that go? Alt, that was what I wanted. Okay, so developers usually organize the images for a site into a directory called images. And we've seen that already, right? In our Jen's Kitchen. It had a folder called images. And all of the images were organized in that folder. And then they, or sometimes they just call it an IMG folder. But if an image is not in the same directory as the document, you need to provide the path name to the image file. So it would look like this, just like when we had to go into examples to link to the instructions.html, right? So when a folder's closed, the document can't see it. And so you've got to open it by giving it the right path. And that's what that means right there, wherever that is, images, right here. Okay, so it's saying to get to arrow.gif, I'm going to have to open this folder images to get into it. So when in our Dreamweaver, you can see when folders are closed, you can't see what's in them. When I go down, I can see what's in it, right? And so I have to give the correct path to get to it. So with instructions, it's the same way with images. I had to tell it to open up examples, and that's where instructions is. That's called a relative path. That means it's relative to the name of this whole file. So in relationship to the index file, I have to go open examples and go inside instructions. But like Shai was saying, go to the C drive, right? You remember that? And then which was his root. Well, we can't do that on a website. The root is some site. It's called the root folder, because when I close the root folder, I don't see anything else, right? So I have to open it to see anything. And then I'm going to close this one up and this one up. And now that's what's inside the root. But I can't see what's inside images unless I open it and give that as part of my path. Now, it depends what document I'm in, but if I'm in these two documents, then I've got to tell it to open images. But inside examples, if I'm here, how do I get to an image inside here? Well, I'm gonna have to tell it to open images and then go to this one. So you've got to understand, that's the simplest way I know to tell you to say it, is that when a folder is closed, you can't see what's in there from your HTML page that you're trying to link to it. So when you get a broken link, you have to see, oh, what did I leave out? But Dreamweaver really helps you, because if you watch, when you do a reference or an image, it's going to give you a browse to see. And I use that all the time, because sometimes you don't know how many embedded ones there are. So let's go back to, let me go back here where it says, okay, so you have to provide the location. So, and it tells you it's not advised to go out to some website external from your website to pick up an image. You want to have the images that you use on your own website in a folder called images. So here's an example with alternative text, providing alternative text with alt. So it tells you normally when you say use alternative text, you don't need to say image and then give the name of it. You just give the name of it. And sometimes it's a PDF file. So here's some examples. If you're happy and you know it, clap your hands. So this is the image displayed for this HTML code. Okay, now you don't have to provide the dimensions of an image, the width and the height, because now with responsive design, you don't want an image to stay a specific width and height, because it all depends upon the device that you're on. But you can give it a width and height, and that's what it says here. Be sure that the pixel dimensions you specify are the actual dimensions of the image, because you could end up with an image looking like this if you use these attributes. So here's adding and linking images. This is an exercise that helps you to add and link images. Have you ever rolled over an image and it's a link instead of words being a link, right? Well, you do that the same way as you do with a word. So here is an example. Let's see, which one are they in? 5E, put a copy of the gallery folder. Okay, so let me look at this. Now we're going to back out of this test yourself and go back to where the actual, okay, so you should have those files for chapter 7 also. That's what I'm going to right now. So if you want to follow along, you can do these. Okay, so in this one, I'm going to open exercise, the gallery. It says to open the gallery. So I'm going to go into my Dreamweaver, and y'all follow along so I can see if you know how to set up another site. Okay, so if you have your Dreamweaver open, go up to site, new site, and this one I'm going to call gallery, or chapter 7. I'll just call it chapter 7. Okay, that's the name of the site. It's not the name of any files or anything. That's my root. So now I've got to come over here and find that one. So I'm going to go back here. And I probably just want to do it this way because I want all of these to show up. So I'm going to choose that. I'm going to say save. And so now look, it put all of those over here for me. So now I want to go into chapter 7 and gallery, and I'm going to open the index there. So there's what I've got. So now what does it tell me over here? Open the file index and add the small thumbnail images to this page to accompany the text. I've done the first one for you. So the first one, let's see, I don't know if this will work or not, but I'll see. Okay, so the first one, they've actually got some, I don't know why they've got CSS in here, but they do. So we're not even looking at that. Where did it tell it? Right here. Oh, is this one a completed one? Wait a minute. Oh, this one's already done. Yeah, they did this one for us. So here's the first one. And it should be, if you open that index file, it should look like this. So next it says, they put the first one in there and then add the thumbnail images burgers-200.jpg and fish-200 at the beginning of the paragraphs in their respective sections. Be sure to include the path names and thoughtful alternative text descriptions. Finally, add a line break after the image element. When you are done, save the file and open it in the browser. We'll see, because we're in Dreamweaver, we don't have to save it. So the next one is our burgers. So if you look at how they did this one, our baked goods, then there's a paragraph, and that's where the anchor tag goes. So I'm going to go right here before people, and I'm going to create an anchor tag. And remember, I have to have an href equals, and look, it's letting me browse for it. Do you see one that I want? We want the thumbnails because we want burgers-200. So I'm going to click this one, and it already put it there for me. So remember, I have to have a greater than symbol and that, but then I have to type in there what I want it to say. So what do I want it to say? I actually, no, that's the link. I'm sorry, I don't put anything in there except I need to put an alt tag. I need to fix that. So up here, I'm going to add an alt, ALT equals, and I'm going to put what this is, a picture of, and I can just say a burgers, our burgers or something. Burgers. Okay, so now when I refresh, it should show it up in there, and it is not. Why not? Did I leave something out? Yes, I did. I did not. I put my alt. Well, no, alt equals. Well, I did want to put a break, but that still shouldn't keep it from showing up. Well, it did my break, but it did not show my image. Okay, let's go over here and see if it shows up in the preview. No, is anybody else showing up? What? Shy is yours? Who's doing it with me? Did anybody's do it? Okay, let me see what's happening, why it's not. Index, thumbnails. Is that image not in there? Let me see. Photos. Oh, it's not, the thumbnails are HTML, they're not. But the bread was a JPEG. Why is that? Oh, there it is. Did I not go in the right spot? There is an image right there. Burgers-200. .jpg alt. It should have shown up. What is happening? Thumbnails. Anybody get it to show up?
I'm working on it. 1 second.
Okay, so why? Let me see something here. Our baked goods, we start our day. Dun, dun, dun. That is too weird. Let me see. Href, thumbnails. Okay, I'm gonna go and try one other thing. Let me look at. See if I did something wrong here. Huh. So the finished index, I'm gonna open here. How is that different? Oh, you see what we're missing? Up here it has the anchor so that the image will be a link, right? So I put href there, and that should be my image tag. And now that should show up. It's not. Oh, because I didn't cancel the. No, it doesn't need that at all. It just needs that. It's still, oh, there, now it's showing up. Okay, so, but before the image, I have to actually have the href. So I need to say href equals, and I want burgers.html. And then I want this, and then I want the image. And this needs to be down here because I want my my image to be a link to burgers.html. So instead of having text, I have the image as my link. And I still am missing something because it shows me anchor href burgers. Source, huh? Image source equals. Oops, I didn't need another equals. And it's still saying, there it is, thumbnails, burgers, alt equals burgers, anchor break. Let's see. There we go. Fine. So you notice that if I preview this, okay, let me go over and preview it in Google Chrome. I'm going to save it. Okay, so now notice what happens. See how it turns to a link? So instead of having a word underlined, this image is a link to my page. But it's linking, this one is not put it on the page. This one actually has it big on the page. So it's a thumbnail image that if you want to see it larger, you click on it and that page has the larger image. So those others, they probably don't have that in there yet. Yours isn't working?
Nope.
Okay, so here's the easiest way to do it is to copy this whole section and paste it down below and then change the HTML and the image. And then it'll probably work. Did you get your site set up right? This time? Did you set up your site? Did you go? Did you know what's this thing? Okay, right up there, just say CH6-7.
where's that? Okay, so there they all are. So now what we opened is this one up here. Okay, so now scroll down to where this one's in here. Right here, and start with that anchor right here, right there, and copy all of that just down to there, to the break. Okay, now Control C, Command C. Okay, now go right in front of P, but right into the paragraph. Right after the 4 people, right? Put your cursor right there. Copy, oh, you copy that. Okay, so now you want to change that to burgers, that bread to burgers. There you go. And then you do the same thing down thumbnails, and that image you want to change to. Okay, and then you want to change those words to the alt text to say something more.
I just don't feel like typing it.
Maybe. Okay, so now you should be able to say refresh or whatever it is. And so if you device preview, then all your links should work. Okay, so now click on that, and it should take you to that page. Pretty cool, huh? Everything. Smart. Yeah. Oh, you're doing the big picture, that's why. Okay. Here's the easiest way. Okay, which one works? This one here. Oh, yeah, is that there? No, what is that? Did you put that in?
No, I'm pressing things, but we're not.
You must have not done the index. You're in the finished ones, that's fine. You're supposed to be up here. Where's your exercise of 7? What's your side? Go back to your side. New side. Well, go to menu side. Did you create one? Chapter 7. Okay, let's do that. Okay, chapter 7. Oh my God,
Okay.
where's your 7 and 1? Okay, that's what you're supposed to do. In gallery. Yeah, that's right.
Still,
Okay, there you
it was
go.
doing some.
No, now go down. Now we'll get one of them. Okay, copy just the anchor down to the break. Yeah. Copy that. Now go down to people, right with the people. Yep. Okay, now just change bread to burgers. Okay, and then you gotta change this bread. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, so I didn't put the chapter 7 assignment out there yet, I don't think, so I'll put that assignment on.
That's it.
Okay, so that's right. So now what you want to do is go to preview and see if
Are you still trying to do the chapter 6?
Yep. It won't even take me to the home page.
Have you tried clearing all your Google Chrome
Yeah.
or Safari
So that
pages?
takes you back and see, it's probably
Closing
gonna
it
have it
completely.
in this one. You think, oh, that's not working. Okay.
Because I can go here, and I can go here, I can go to tutorial, go to home page, and it takes me right there.
Okay,
Go to
the
instructions.
anchor tag has to go down to the right before the break, so you have to go here. So it's not, because it's not
Oh, no.
a picture in the break.
I'm not a genius.
That's all right?
Is it something with the fish?
What's that?
Is it something with fish?
Yes. Did you get that with the work? Did you do that?
Yeah.
And the link works and everything. There you go. All right.
So is it something with fish?
Yeah. But this is just telling you, yeah, I'll probably have you submit all of these exercises.
So I can't get the instructions to go back to the homepage.
Yours-
I can go to tutorial and go to homepage, but I'm gonna do this.
I hope you know how to do 7 because you were supposed to wait and do this at home. Okay, so what's this one's, where's the one that you can't get to work?
This is the one where I can't get it to go back to this page. Like I got this one to go back to that page, but I can't get this one to go back.
To the home page?
Yeah.
Well, where is this file? Go over here. Where's the instructions at? And where, yeah, see, it's embedded. That's why it's inside examples. The other one wasn't. So you've got to go, let's see, how does that work? Okay, go here and take the equal sign. I'm going to show you if you do it this way. Okay, take the equal sign off. And the quote, you need to take that whole thing. First type give you a browse. Now put equals. Now some site, and it's going to be inside examples. No, I'm sorry, right there.
Okay,
See?
so I'm supposed to put some.
Because
That's
it
what I
has
was-
to go back to the root.
Okay,
See?
that's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, why is it not
Okay.
working? I also couldn't get the family to go to the boot one. I put examples, things, and then boot.html, and that one wouldn't.
Well, I would let Dreamweaver do it for you.
Okay.
And that's the way I find it the best. That's
Okay.
why I keep with Dreamweaver. It helps. Okay, so I'm going to put the Chapter 7 assignment out there, and you'll be able to do the same thing. You'll zip the folder and submit it, okay? In Chapter 7. Now, you'll also notice that I did go ahead and put in Canvas that other, let me get out of student view. That other discussion is out there for the Krug book. Come on. Oh, why is it going so slow? Yes.
I might not be able to get all this done before my trip, so would it be possible for me to start it after?
Before your trip. Yes, just keep working on it and get, you mean before next Tuesday?
I have a trip this weekend. I'm going out of state.
Okay, will you be back Monday? Because you'll have till, yeah, try to get as much you can before class Tuesday, all right?
Okay.
And then you submit it after that. So I will put Chapter 7 right here, and there'll be an assignment, but what I was trying to show you was these discussions, and for some reason, it's not letting me. Okay, so the discussion that was supposed to be here, come on.
That's the
Open.
one that it says it on there, but it's not.
Like right here. No, that's taking you to Chapter 2. That's the wrong one. Okay, I have a new one in there. I just haven't linked it. Okay, it is right here. It says Chapter 3 billboards, which is what Chapter 3 is about. So when you click on it, it says, read Chapter 3 in the Krug book. Take a picture. Maybe while you're out of state, you might want to do this, Lainey. Take a picture of an actual billboard or other outdoor sign that conveys a message quickly and well, and explain why you think it works, but you need to read the chapter first because he tells you what's a good billboard, okay? And then you'll post the picture that you took here and respond to two of your peers. So you need to post yours, you know, by Sunday night so that students have until, you know, all day Monday and Tuesday to get to respond to yours, okay? But it's, you know, those chapters only take you 5 minutes to read because there's not a lot of reading, but he goes over what makes a billboard good. But you also can look at a billboard or an outdoor sign, take a picture of it if it conveys a message. Don't want to take like a stop sign, okay?
So that's what's in that book to do, and then chapter 7, and I'll post the chapter 7 assignment, okay? All right, any questions? At least this time, I believe I got it recorded here.
So yeah, you're gonna